Hi friends, welcome to Interactive Medicine. In this section onwards, we are starting our Talk 1 series. So it contains the concise information about the previous year questions and explanations. So I will suggest some websites like Neutron or MCQ explanation and some site you can search for previous year questions. So in this section we are talking about some systemic drugs. So this is our pharmacology section. So we are starting. The first question, this question is asked in 2017. So uh, they are they are asking that therapeutic unit of a hospital received a man's. First we need to understand what is meant with therapeutic. It is originated from the Greek word, so it is related to healing of disease, and it's a unit of therapeutics unit of a hospital received a man suffering from ulcer disease. So ulcer is an open sore and on an external or internal surface of the body and caused by a break in the skin or mucous membrane which fails to heal. It is very important, which fails to heal. And ulcers range from small painful sores in the mouth to blood sores and serious lesions of the stomach or intestine. And man is suffering from ulcer disease of the stomach with a hyperacidity, so increased production of HCl. So protons are very high and the pH is very low. pH is low, which means that hyperacidity. Which of the listed groups of drugs must be used as a part of complex therapy of this patient? So here is our options: histamine H1 receptor antagonist, steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, calcium channel blockers, histamine H2 receptor blockers. So we need to find the answer, and the answer is A, and which is that histamine H2 receptor blockers. So how is it become an answer? So first we need to understand uh, our stomach. Our stomach has, okay, just consider this is our stomach, and our stomach has parietal cell. Okay, this is parietal cell. This is our of the lumen of the stomach, and this is the wall of the stomach wall. So so the parietal cell is present in the wall of the stomach, and here is the lumen, and here is the wall. Okay, which means that uh, so here is we have histamine H2 receptor here. So histamine can bind here. Histamine, very important, it is H2 receptor, not H1. H2 receptor are present in parietal cell of the stomach. So histamine can bind with H2 receptor. So phosphorylation happens. ATP converts into cyclic AMP, and which will acts on the proton pump. This is proton pump. Proton pump. H plus K plus ATPase activity. We can see here. So from the parietal cell, the H plus is secreted into the lumen. So we have high amount of H plus in the lumen. High amount of H plus in the lumen. So hyperacidity will occur. Then here they ask that which of the listed group of drugs must be used for hyperacidity. So we need to decrease the acidity. So when we consider the histamine H2 receptor blockers, we can find here. So some drugs which can inhibit H2 receptor. So histamine cannot acts on this receptor. So H plus doesn't secrete into the lumen. So we can reduce our the hyperacidity. And the calcium channel blockers. Second option is calcium channel blockers. So first we need to understand what is calcium channel. What is the function of calcium channel? Before we are going to calcium channel, we have some example for H2 receptor blockers. Famotidine is important and ranitidine important. Cimetidine also important. Just it every H2 receptor blockers are end with tidine. So famotidine, cimetidine, ranitidine. Remember these three. And this is a proton pump inhibitor. This is proton pump inhibitors. This drug is proton pump inhibitor. So it can decrease the acidity. Here our histamine parietal cell have what? His H2 receptor, not H1, H2 receptor. So H2 receptor, not H1. So drugs which can block H2 receptor will block the binding of histamine with parietal cell. So acidity also decrease in this case. Another option is proton pump inhibitor, which also can decrease the acidity. In proton pump inhibitor, what happened? The drugs can block the proton pump inhibitors. Proton pump inhibitors can block the H plus K plus ATPase activity. So H plus cannot enter into lumen. So it also decreases the acidity in stomach. We will discuss about calcium channel, but before that we need to understand the proton pump inhibitors. All proton pump inhibitors end with the letter or the word prazole. And for example, we need to understand importantly omeprazole, pantoprazole. These two we need to remember at least. Medical uses of proton pump inhibitors include the peptic ulcer disease, including NSAID associated ulcer. Some person who are using the NSAID drugs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, they have a chance to get ulcer. For an example, some patient who have rheumatoid arthritis, he is using some NSAID, so there is a chance for he gets peptic ulcer. And also Helicobacter pylori can cause the ulcer, so we will use proton pump inhibitors in this case. Dyspepsia and gastroesophageal reflux disease. Gastroesophageal reflux disease means like because this is our stomach, this is our stomach, this is our esophagus. So the we have the sphincter here between esophagus and stomach. We have some sphincter. So if this sphincter is not working properly, the acidic environment, the acidic contents of the stomach can enter into the esophagus. It leads to the changing of the cells were present in the esophagus. We have some strange condition like a Barrett esophagus, or maybe cancer can occur due to this gastroesophageal reflux disease. And gastric acid is important for breakdown of food and release of micronutrients, and some studies have shown possibilities for interference with the absorption of iron, vitamin B12, calcium, magnesium. Iron, vitamin B12, calcium, magnesium. So Roman numeral like 15 cm. Iron, vitamin, calcium, magnesium. So we are coming into the calcium channel. So what is the function of calcium channel? Calcium channels play crucial roles in maintaining the cardiac action potential, neurotransmitter release. An example for neurotransmitter is acetylcholine. Then muscle contraction, it's important. Muscle contraction also important. So if there is no calcium, the muscle will not contract properly. So where we can find the calcium 2 plus channels, it is present in the plasma membrane of excitable cells such as neurons and myocytes. Excitable means uh, uh, polarizing cells. Neurons, myocytes are example for excitable cells, so it can excite. Uh, so an example for calcium channel blocker are very important: amlodipine and nifedipine, verapamil. At least these things you need to by heart: amlodipine, nifedipine, verapamil, and diltiazem. Also, you need to remember. So we are back into our question. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Some example for non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs: aspirin, paracetamol, then uh, indomethacin or metacin or indomethacin. Then celasohib. Celasohib is a selective non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. So it inhibits the cyclooxygenase 2 specifically. Then steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs example is glucocorticoids, for example prednisolone. Histamine H1 receptor blockers. We need to understand that. First we need to understand the fact that histamine comes from histidinic. Histamine is histamine histamine uh, comes from histidic acid. By decarboxylation reaction. Carbon dioxide is removed. Histidic acid undergoes decarboxylation reaction and form histamine. And NSAID example we already said that SAIDs receptor actions of histamine. H1 receptors located in the nerve endings, smooth muscle, glandular cells, and also blood vessels. It dilates the blood vessels. Hypotension, H1 receptor. When histamine acts on the H1 receptor in the blood vessel, so it leads to dilation of the blood vessel, leads to hypotension, and leads to anaphylaxis. In anaphylaxis, uh, in this case, I am remembering you one thing also. Which drug we first introduced during anaphylaxis is uh, ep- epinephrine. 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 So H1 receptor is involved in the allergic reaction, inflammation, bronchoconstriction, and increase the production of respiratory secretions. So when bronchoconstriction and increased production of respiratory secretion leads to asphyxia. Asphyxia. Asphyxia means person can't breathe properly, so leads to there is no oxygen in the blood, so it can leads to death. Uh, and Abdominal cramps and diarrhea, itching pain and stimulating the sensory nerve endings. Will itching and paining stimulate the sensory nerve endings, leads to sneezing when some allergic substance like cold, dust. During this time we sneeze. This is because of H1 activation of H1 receptors. Uh, Activation of H1 receptors by binding with the histamine. So we need to block. We have some blockers like this is H1 receptor. Histamine. Histamine binds with this receptor in the cell. This is our cell. So uh, if we if we have able to block this receptor, then the adverse effect of H1 will not occur. So we have two generation drugs, first generation and second generation. First generation means these drugs are find firstly, then these are second generation, which means that first generation have some side effect because that these drugs can enter into central nervous system. These have poor central nervous system entry. So if the drug can enter into central nervous system, the most of the time the adverse effect is sedating. The person is tend to be undergo sleep and dizziness. So some example for H1 receptors in first generation is chlorpheniramine and diphenhydramine, promethazine, cyproheptadine. So better than the drugs is second generation drugs. The non-sedating drugs, for an example, non-sedating, no sleep. The person have no sleep, and it can effectively bind with the H receptors. The example is loratadine drug, and weak sedating, cetirizine, we know this drug, and activastin. So we are moving to next question. This question is asked in 2019. A patient with peptic ulcer disease, we already said that peptic ulcer, the wound, the sore which is failed to heal, and the doctor is prescribed the drug famotidine. Famotidine, we already said that, which is a H2 receptor. blocker, H2 receptor blocker, famotidine, ranitidine, then cimetidine. We need to remember these drugs. As a result, his gastric juice acidity significantly decrease. Okay, what is the mechanism of action of these drugs? We know that histamine H2 receptor blockers. So when we comes through other options, inhibition of H plus K plus ATPase activity. This is proton pump inhibition. Drugs example omeprazole, pantoprazole. Okay, blockade of histamine receptors in sympathetic ganglia. There is nothing with central nervous system. This is based on our stomach. So uh, histamine receptors 1, histamine receptor 2 is present in parietal cells of stomach. Histamine receptor 1 is located in central nervous system also, smooth muscle, blood vessels, etc. Muscarinic M1 receptor blockade. So we need to understand where is muscarinic receptors locates. Muscarinic receptor, we have 5 subtypes. Mostly we need to study these 3 subtypes: M1, M2, M3. M1 receptors are located in exocrine glands, autonomic ganglia. M2 receptors are located in atria and conducting tissue of the heart. M2 is mostly seen in heart. M3 exocrine glands and smooth muscle of intestine, smooth muscle of trachea, and M1 is located in stomach. Very important, stomach. So we have a drug which can block. We have a drug which can block M1. That is pyrancepine. Pyrancepine. Or gastrizepine, which leads to decreased acidity of the stomach. It is also used in ulcer. M4 is seen in central nervous system. M5 is seen in substantia nigra. Histamine, H1 receptor blockade. We already said that. Where is H1 receptor is located? Smooth muscle, blood vessel, central nervous system. So some example for H1 receptor drugs, H1 receptor blocker drugs is what are they? First generation chlorpheniramine, second generation weak sedative cetirizine, non-sedative loratadine. A 40-year-old female diagnosed with acute pancreatitis. Important that acute pancreatitis, the drug Contrical. Contrical is the drug. Any word that is end with itis, which says that inflammation. So we have inflammation may be acute, chronic. In acute, neutrophils will recruit toward the connective tissue. In chronic, lymphocytes will recruit in connective tissue. In acute, IgM will recruit. In chronic, IgG will recruit. I will said it more clearly later. Inflammation have 3 process. First one is alteration, necrosis or degeneration. Then next is exudation. Third one is proliferation. platyphyllin and atropine. Other options are platyphyllin and atropine. These are natural alkaloids. These are MN choline blockers. Pyrazapine or gastrosapine is an M1 selective antagonist. Here they mention pyrazapine. Pyrazapine or gastrosapine, M1 selective blocker, used in the treatment of peptic ulcer, reduces gastric acid secretion and reduces muscle spasm. And metacin, we already said that. Example for non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug. Drug inhibit excretory function of pancreas during the treatment of acute pancreatitis. It is contrical or aprotein. Another name of contrical is aprotein. Allocol. This is a charcoal activated drug. Allocol is a preparation that stimulates the production of secretion of bile. Then Pansino is a tablet used to treat pancreatic enzyme deficiency. It is a pancreatic enzyme supplement that helps in digestion. Pancreatin also it contain the pancreatic enzymes. Phastals also contain pancreatic enzymes. Pancreatin is an effective enzyme supplement for replacing missing pancreatic enzymes used in number of essential body processes. Festal is a drug containing pancreatin, hemicellulase, certain bile components. It is indicated for use of people in GIT problems, helps actually digest the food, especially fatty meats and that require pancreatic enzymes. Next question. A47, it asked in 2016 and 15, intestinal colic and essential hypertension. The patient is suffering with both intestinal colic and essential hypertension. So, what I am saying this, what is meant by intestinal colic? Intestinal colic is a cramp-like pain. It originates in the small intestine or large intestine. It is caused by blockage of keep food blockage of the uh, in the blockage it is caused by a blockage that keeps food and liquid from passing through it. Because why it occurs? Because cramps, spasm of the smooth muscle will occur. Spasm of smooth muscle of intestine will occur. So we need to introduce some drugs we have with the antispasmodics. Myo means, this is the answer, A is the answer. Myo means muscle, tropic means nutrition, anti means against, spasm means against spasm. Against spasm, we need to introduce some drugs. This is essential hypertension. Then anticholinesterase. Before that, before we are going to next options, we need to understand the facts that what is meant by blood pressure. Blood pressure is a force of blood against your artery walls as your heart pumps blood through your body. Here we can draw our heart. This is heart. This is okay. Right atria. So left atria, left ventricle, right right atria. So right ventricle, right atria. So from left ventricle we have aorta. So when we cross section of aorta, this is our aorta. This is blood, and this blood makes force against the wall. This is the wall. This is the walls of blood vessel made. It is made by endothelial cells. So this blood make a force against the wall of arterial wall. This force is pressure. This force is pressure. We studied in physics, pressure is F by A. F means force, A means area. Per unit area, pressure is the force in a unit area, that is pressure. So blood pressure normally in arterial wall 122, so 122 80 mmHg, millimeter of mercury. So if this systolic arterial pressure is very high, so it can leads to hypertension. So in this question they are asking the patient who have both intestinal colic and hypertension. So we need to introduce the drug which is both favorable for curing intestinal colic and arterial hypertension. So in hypertension, what happens? The in the smooth muscle of the arterial wall become contract and it constricts. So the force is very high. Force is very high in this time. So pressure is also very high in hypertension. So we need to relax the smooth muscle of blood vessel. They are asking the question intestinal colic and essential hypertension. The most efficient drug is myotropic antispasmodic. When we consider the option B, anticholinesterase agents, in this case we need to understand there is a fact that here is our smooth muscle. Here is our smooth muscle and here is our nerve ending, and it will produce neurotransmitter, most time acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is the neurotransmitter. Acetylcholine is formed by two components, acetate and choline. Acetate and choline. So this neurotransmitter can gets into degenerate. Normally acetylcholine binds with smooth muscle, it leads to contraction of smooth muscle. Then after its job, after its function, this acetylcholine need to be destroyed. So acetylcholine gets destroyed into acetate and choline. Here we can draw acetylcholine by enzyme cholinesterase. Cholinesterase enzyme. So they are given anticholinesterase anticholinesterase agents. Anticholinesterase agents means the drugs which is against cholinesterase enzyme. So it blocks the cholinesterase. So acetylcholine will not converted into acetate and choline. So the acetylcholine accumulate here and more receptors will activated. So the smooth muscle of in the blood vessel cannot be relaxed in this state. So hypertension will not reduced. That's why we don't choose the answer B. Then sympathomimetics and adrenomimetics. Mimetics means favoring or same like sympathomimetics and adrenomimetics. The drugs mimetics means drugs which are favoring this action. Sympathomimetics means drugs which are favoring the sympathetic action. We know sympathetic system, when the activation of sympathetic system, it will leads to constriction of blood vessel. Like the same adrenomimics also leads to constriction of blood vessel. So it will not help in essential hypertension. Then M-cholinomimetics. M-cholinomimetics is the drug which is favoring acetylcholine, which means that instead of acetylcholine, we introduce some uh, artificial artificial uh, neurotransmitter, that is cholinomimetics, M-cholinomimetics, that is M-cholinomimetics. So it also leads to the contraction of smooth muscle. It is not favorable for essential hypertension. So friends, I think this video is helpful for you. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in comment box. And if you like this video, please make a thumbs up and share to your friends and subscribe our channel. Thank you friends. Bye.